my fellow readers. My name is Greg, and this is Ghost Readers in the Sky. It's Tuesday. It's a tag Tuesday. We're doing today the If I Owned a Bookstore tag. Robert G. Reader of Books put this tag together. I was tagged by Debs at Rainer Read Stuff, by Gareth at Book Songs and Other Magic, by Pat at Book Chat with Pat. Here is the premise of the tag. It's time to indulge in a bit of fantasy. I like that. To imagine owning your own bookstore and responding to the prompts below. Pretend money's not an issue. That you are independently wealthy, but remember, moderation in all things. Aesthetic considerations are your only criteria. I don't remember where I first saw this tag. I can't remember who was doing it, but I was thinking about it, thinking, oh, this would be a fun tag to do. And I was thinking about a bookstore that was really a speakeasy with books. So you go downstairs in the basement, it's open mostly at night. And then you know what? Debs from Rainer Read Stuff stole my idea. No, she had the exact same idea. Deb's fantasy bookstore and my fantasy bookstore would have been exactly the same. And I didn't want to just say what Debs said. Ditto Debs. So I came up with a whole new idea. But Debs is cool. There's an order to these prompts that for the type of bookstore that I'm imagining in my own mind, in my own neighborhood of make-believe, these really need to be answered in a different order for this to make sense. And so I am going to skip around through the prompts. I will answer all of them, but I'm not going to do them in the order presented. So I'll start with what is prompt number 8. What's your specialty? Used books? New and used? Only fiction? Only nonfiction? Fiction and nonfiction? Does your bookstore specialize in a particular genre? I'm thinking it's all used, but it's primarily I'm going to say it's a rare book store. It is a bookstore where people come to find specialty items and things that are a little harder to find. Not necessarily high value, not necessarily, the first edition of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings or anything. No $1 million books. But some nice copies of older books that are hard to find in other places. And I'm thinking, well, let's see. Here's another question. This is number 6. These are going to tie together. Where's your bookstore located? In the busy heart of a large city? In a neighborhood of a large city? In a suburban strip mall? In a small town? In a rural area? I've thought a lot about where this should be located. If it's going to be rare books, it needs to be a place that has people who might be there anyway, who are passing through, who might have some money to spend. And I am from the American West. And I got to thinking about it, and I think the perfect place for my bookstore is Reno, Nevada. So you've got the gambling, you've got that part of Reno, but it's also a big convention center. It's not as chaotic as Las Vegas. It's a nice sized town. I think you could find a nice place downtown in Reno for me to have my rare and used bookstore. Specialties, certainly books about the American West. If you're in Reno, then you can specialize regionally in like books about Donner Pass and the Oregon-California Trail. Certainly the influence of Basque immigrants and the Basque culture, which may be focused around Reno, but it also may pull in some works from the Basque country. I think this could be fiction and nonfiction. Probably a little heavier on nonfiction, but you've got so many great Western writers who wrote books that are set in Nevada and this part of California that's right there, Donner Pass especially. But I think there are a lot of really good options that you can build a store around. And then I'm also going to have some of my favorite authors, and not just from the American West. So people like Jack London and Frank Norris and Edward Abbey, but also people like Robert Louis Stevenson, I think is my favorite author, at least right now. So a broader idea of what's there, but really deep in the history of the American West, the history of northern Nevada, Utah, southwestern Idaho, parts of northern California, gold mines, silver mines, a lot of cool stuff you could do. So that would kind of be my specialty. All right, now that we have that set up, I think I'll go through the prompts pretty much in Bob's order. So prompt 1, what are the hours of operation? I think mostly just daytime. It might be kind of leisurely. It might be for me, the bookseller. So open at 9 or 10. Stay open through the afternoon, maybe probably into the early evening, maybe around 6, 10 to 6. I think stay open through the weekends. Maybe take Mondays off. I don't know, something like that. And if you're in the heart of downtown, certainly a place like Reno is going 24 hours a day, but I don't think a rare and used bookstore needs to be open all the time. People can come in. I'd still make appointments, right? You can come see me by appointment. In fact, you can tell me what you're looking for and I'll pull it up, have it ready for you, have a collection or a set of possibilities. Personal shopping. Yes, there will be a personal shopping experience offered. Is there ambient music? What kind? I know we're talking about the American West, but I think that getting into that California sound of jazz in the 50s and 60s, the West Coast jazz, I think that's the way to go. I think of Dave Brubeck, in particular, a song like Take 5, Paul Desmond on saxophone. And when you start there, you've got Chet Baker, you've got some Miles Davis from that Birth of the Cool era, Stan Getz, Benny Carter, Chico Hamilton. You got a lot of really good options there, and I think that could be a really nice background music that people could enjoy hearing without it completely dominating what's going on as people are looking through and trying to find the books that they're interested in. Is there a coffee bar? Do you serve alcohol? That's prompt number 3. No. No coffee, no alcohol, no food, just books. Books and bookish things. Books and book accessories. Number 4, are patrons encouraged to linger? Are there comfortable chairs? What kind of lighting? Are there tables? Are there areas for group gatherings? I don't really see group gatherings, although perhaps, and this is part of another prompt, perhaps a space for lectures or book signings, or even like a local singer-songwriter. Something that's fairly small, something that's fairly intimate, but not a place where I would encourage people to come and gather. But in the store itself, yeah, I think tables and chairs, although I think it's more library style, library tables, library chairs, tables that are big enough for like 4 people to sit around and chat, some individual, probably not study carols, but that kind of space where you can sit down, put your books out, look through them. Excellent lighting. I want it to be bright so people can read, especially some of these books have such small print that many of us appreciate the best light possible. So have a space where there's good lighting, comfortable enough, and if people want to linger and look through some piles of books, that would be fantastic. So make it available for lingering, if not necessarily encouraging. Is there live entertainment, poetry readings, authors' readings from their current works, lectures in literature? I like the idea of lectures in literature. I like the idea of contemporary authors, particularly nonfiction authors who are writing about that area. Poetry readings. You know what I might say? I think there could be cowboy poetry readings by actual real live cowboy poets. Readings and recitations of cowboy poetry. Yeah, the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering happens in Elko, which is not that far from Reno, a couple hours on the freeway, maybe. So you're in cowboy poetry country. I could do some other poetry readings too. I'm not opposed to that by any means, but if you got some cowboy poetry, if you got some local singer-songwriters, if you've got some discussions on literature and authors, regional talks, that could be cool. Number 7, how does your bookstore look from the outside? Sleek and modern, dark and brooding. I like the idea of some older for American West standards. An older building. I think it should be downtown. It's probably connected then to other buildings. I'd like it to have multiple floors. I don't want anything sleek and modern. I also don't want it to be dark and moody. I don't need, it's not going to be like a horror themed store or a science fiction themed store, but it's really trying to attract people who are book collectors and book readers and who are thinking about the American West first and then everything else. So I think an old bank front could be really cool. Could do something special in the vault. Number 9. What's the name of your bookstore? I'm going to call this store True Grit. Have I gone all the way through this? I think so. Next is to tag people. I'll put some names down below. A lot of people have been doing this tag because this is a fun one. Because you get to make believe, you get to try to figure out what you might want, what you might do. See if other people steal your ideas before you even get a chance to record. And if I don't tag you and you just want to do it, you should do it, because that's how tags work. So thanks, Bob, for putting this together. Thanks to Debs and Gareth and Pat for tagging me, and thanks to others who've done this tag who I've gotten a chance to watch. There'll be more tags coming up on more Tuesdays. Till next time, my name is Greg, and this is Ghost Readers in the Sky.